A few months ago, Nicole and I headed out on an amazing adventure through 5 different countries in Southern Africa over the period of about 17 or 18 days. And just before that trip, we actually took delivery of a bunch of new stuff, including the Eezi-Awn Blade Hardshell rooftop tent. Now, I made a video before that trip showing the whole installation process and first impressions. But now that we've got to know this product very intimately and got to actually use it out in the bush, let's take some time to talk through it and give some feedback. Before we talk about this specific rooftop tent, let's do a general comparison between a softshell or traditional rooftop tent like the one we had on before this one and a hardshell rooftop tent, because they are quite different and they do have their pros and cons. When you're overlanding, a lot of the time you have long days of driving, you're arriving pretty late at camp and you're quite tired, and most of the time you're not actually sitting in camp for long periods of time, many days in a row. And even if you are, you often have to pack up your rooftop tent and drive around to go explore the general area. So for me, being someone who's more interested in overland touring than just general camping, I wanted something that was very, very easy to set up and put down, and something that didn't require me taking bedding out of the car and putting it up in the tent every single time. I love the fact that with a hardshell tent that has space in it, you can leave your bedding in there. It literally takes you 30 seconds to pop it up and hop in. And that was incredibly awesome on this long trip through Southern Africa, to be able to arrive at camp when you're exhausted and just pop it up and hop in, done. I think that was a new record. First time I did this, it took me a few minutes to figure out how to, lock the ladder in place and the best way to do this, but after maybe 3 or 4 times of opening this tent, I think I've got it down to maybe 45 seconds. So super happy with that, much quicker than my previous tent, and just makes this setup a joy to use. There are quite a few companies making hardshell rooftop tents nowadays. My decision to go with Eezi-Awn was based on a number of things. Firstly, they're made locally in South Africa. Aside from supporting locally made products, there's a lot of hardshell rooftop tents that are just made in a generic factory in China and rebranded. I didn't want to do that. I wanted something that was made in a country where there are tons of people who actually experience camping in these conditions. And Eezi-Awn in particular, they are like the OGs of rooftop tents and awnings. They've been around for almost 40 years. I think this year is their 40th year in business. And they've tested their products, all over Africa. They've done the Trans-America from Alaska down to Patagonia, all using their product, so they know what they're doing. So just that little bit of extra confidence of knowing that the product's been tested in crazy conditions and that I've got that local support was really a big factor in choosing this exact product right here. Let's talk about the external design and form factor. Well, the first thing I'd say is that while this is not a small unit, most hardshell tents aren't, it is a pretty sleek design, and I think that the Blade name is quite fitting. Most of the tent is a low profile design, aside from a triangular section which sticks up to provide space for the ladder and bedding. There are also rails on which you can mount load bars or solar panels. The design is pretty aerodynamic and shouldn't affect fuel economy too badly, although if you've mounted roof racks and luggage to your roof like I have, aerodynamic is probably no longer in your vocabulary. Either way, I think that this is probably one of the better looking hardshell tents on the market. If you want an even low profile, you can mount right against the canopy. I've had mine lifted a bit to provide space for mounting the 270-degree awning and to allow the front rack to fit beneath it. This is not ideal for weight distribution or aerodynamics, but I was willing to make the sacrifice for the extra packing space, and I would definitely recommend pairing this tent with the Eezi-Awn Batwing awning. It matches really well in terms of both fitment and color. With a softshell tent, it would be a case of having to kind of come awkwardly from both sides, undo a zip, and then sort of reach around, undo straps and fold everything open. Probably a 3 to 5 minute process. With this tent, it's as simple as undoing 2 latches. There's one, there's the other, and doing that. There's an elastic here which holds everything in place, which you can pull down to the bottom. And from here you simply take your ladder out, set the ladder up on the side, and your tent's up. Now this can be a bit tricky if your tent is as high as mine is. I'll have to stand on my back wheel, reach inside, take the ladder out. But once the ladder's out, it's pretty straightforward. It's in a protective case to stop the dirt from the ladder getting inside your bedding and everything. Slide that off, and then there's two locking pieces on the side that you have to take out. You can slide the ladder up, lock it in position with the same locking arms at the top, and this is adjustable at the bottom here too. So there's a part here that can slide up or down. You set it the height you want it for your vehicle, and then this simply slots into place here in an aluminium slot. And once it's in, as long as the ground has a pretty solid foundation, then it's not really going to go anywhere. It's pretty secure, and you can climb with your tent. So the tent inside here is pretty spacious, very well insulated in the roof. It's almost got like a foam material on top here. There's even a light up here, so if you're up here at night, this is wired in. You just plug a plug in on the outside, a hella plug, go straight to your battery, and you wired it up. You've got light right here if you need it in the middle of the night. And then the best part about this, and well, hardshell tents in general, is that you can leave your bedding in here. So there's space for the ladder. You pack your ladder in here when you close the tent up. There's space for a duvet. We actually used a pretty thick down duvet when we were traveling up in Botswana and Namibia and everything. And we've got two memory foam pillows in here too. So you got to be pretty careful how you pack it. For example, if you put your pillows too far on the outside, it won't close properly. You have to pack your pillows more in this space over here that's sort of cut out for pillows. But it's a really good design, plenty of space, and as you can see here, there's tons of headroom here. I can lift my hands directly above me, and there's lots of space. It's actually wider than my old front runner rooftop tent too, so for Nicole and I to both fit in comfortably, that's great. It's got two pockets in the front, and then this whole section over here that you can pop out just makes it feel extra spacious. If it's raining, you can leave this open, get that air coming in, but not have any rain falling on you. And obviously, if you just want to pop the tent up quickly, you can leave this closed. You don't have to put this out, which is, I think, one of the best features. But very nice inside, very high quality materials, and I really can't complain about anything in here. There are windows on 3 sides, and each window has both the bug net layer and the main layer, and both of these have YKK zips, so there's very little chance of them jamming. They're very well made and a very good material. Right at the bottom of the tent we have a layer of carpet and insulation. Above that we've got an African themed mattress, which is actually quite comfortable, and then we just keep a bed sheet on here permanently underneath the duvet. The connection for the light is a hella plug or a 12-volt cigarette socket, whichever one you want. I've got mine as a cigarette socket, and I just plug it directly into the National Lunar battery box, and there you go. I should also mention that the blade does have bigger brothers: the Stealth, which has a scissor mechanism giving you more foot space, an external ladder mount and built-in USB charging ports, and the Sword, which is a family-sized unit. Funnily enough, my favorite feature of the blade is actually the rear awning design. It opens up to create a more spacious feel while still providing shelter, and is really useful in hot conditions when you want a draft blowing through the tent. But that's nothing special. I mean, most tents have this feature. What I have enjoyed about this design is the way it folds up. If it's really windy, there's a good chance that you want to put this away because it will flap around and make a noise. With most tents, once you remove the rods holding the awning up, you're left with a loose canvas that flaps around. The blade is quite smart in that there are zips which tuck the corners away and create tension on the back wall. This means no flapping around in the wind, but it also means that you never really have to use the awning if you don't want to. When I did the Namakwa Eco Trail a few months ago, we actually removed the fly sheet off our front runner entirely to shorten the setup and pack down time, and kind of just hope that it wouldn't rain. On this recent trip with the Blade, we actually just kept the awning packed away most nights, and it made our lives super easy. Packing the tent away is equally as easy. There's an elastic on the outside here that you lift up, which will just help pack everything away. Pull this down to get the gas struts moving downwards, and then fold away all the bits and bobs. Everything in, take your clips, put them over the top, clip them down. There you go, done. Well, there you go guys, that is my overview of the Eezi-Awn Blade rooftop tent. I will put a link down below to Eezi-Awn's website if you want to check out this product and more technical specs like the actual dimensions and weight and stuff like that. But I think it's a pretty cool product. I've absolutely loved having it. As always, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.